Hello again. I'm a little bit different. Trying to travel light, so I left my Bible, so I have to use my phone, and I don't normally do that. It's- But what I will do while I can you put on a big smile for me? I can't get you all in one go. Yeah, you're gonna have to move across. Hey, what are you leaving for? No, I can get you. Yeah, you're in. Everyone's in there. Okay, everyone's in the picture. Just needs to have some big smiles. Without people walking. Right, thank you. Okay, if we open up your Bibles, we're going to look at Exodus chapter 16. So we're going to look at a couple of stories. So Exodus 16, and we'll pick this up in verse 14. 16:14. So this is about children of Israel in the wilderness. And when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as a hoarfrost on the ground. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, "It is manna," for they wist not what it was. It literally means, "What is it?" And Moses said unto them, "This is the bread which the Lord has given you to eat. This is a thing which the Lord has commanded. Gather of it, every man according to his eating, and omer for every man according to the number of your persons. Take ye every man for them which are in his tents." And so they did so. We'll do a few more verses. And the children of Israel did so and gathered some more, some less. And when it did meet, it was an omer. He that gathered much had nothing over, and he that gathered little had no lack. And they gathered every man according to his eating. And Moses said, "Let no man leave it till the morning." Notwithstanding, they hearkened not unto Moses, but some of them left it until the morning, and it bred worms and stank. And Moses was wroth with them. And they gathered every morning, every man according to his eating. And when the sun waxed hot, it melted. And you can read a bit more on that later on. So it's probably a story we're fairly familiar with, but this is this concept I want to talk about in a few things. It's about new every morning. And this is what happened was Israel, when they were in the wilderness, they had this miraculous food provided for them each day, every morning, and they had to go out and gather it and bring it back. And what they got sustained them for the day. It was no good for tomorrow. The only exception was on the sixth day, they had to gather double, and that's because they had a day of rest and it was going to last them for those 2 days. But they had to go out every single morning. No gathering, no eating. It's as simple as that. And they couldn't think, "Oh, I'll be efficient and let's get some extra for today, or maybe get three days worth." It didn't work because whatever they gathered today was no good for tomorrow. It was finished. They had to go out every single day, and there was enough for everybody. Everyone was provided for. There was never too much. There was never too little. It was always sufficient for everybody's needs, and it's quite a important concept. We'll go to another little story, Numbers 28. So Numbers chapter 28. We'll start in verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, "Command the children of Israel, and say unto them, My offering and my bread for my sacrifices made by fire for a sweet savour unto me, you shall observe to offer unto me in their due season. And I shall say unto them, This is the offering made by fire, which you shall offer unto the Lord: 2 lambs of the first year, was outspot day by day for a continual burnt offering. One lamb shall they offer in the morning, the other shall offer at the even. And the 10th part of an ephah of flour for a meat offering, mingled with the 4th part of a hin of beaten oil, and those measurements mean nothing to me. It is a continual burnt offering, which was ordained on Mount Sinai for a sweet savour, a sacrifice made by fire unto the Lord. And the drink offering thereof shall be a 4th part of a hin for one lamb. In the holy place that shall cause the strong wine to be poured into the Lord for a drink offering. And again, this is a daily sacrifice. And it was done in the morning, it was done in the evening, and it was continued. They had to do it every single day. And it was an offering unto the Lord. And it was a commandment. It wasn't an option. It was something that they had to do. And it was part of their relationship with the Lord. It was part of the, them acknowledging the Lord in their life, about acknowledging their sin and making these sacrifices unto the Lord continually. So there's two concepts there. We've got the manna that was provided in the wilderness, which was for food, and then they had the sacrifice that they presented every single day unto the Lord. It's in one sense the Lord giving them, and then the other sense them giving back to the Lord. But it was every single day. And in this case here, it was every morning and every evening. So where am I going with all of that? We go to Lamentations chapter 3. So Lamentations, as the name implies, is quite a mournful book. Jeremiah, he's really lamenting over Israel that been taken over by Babylon, and pretty much everything was destroyed that they were known. The whole way of life had been turned on its head. And so he was really lamenting the state of Israel, well, the state of Judah, more to the point, the state of Jerusalem, and what had happened to God's people. But in the midst of all that mourning, there's these few little verses here. And let's look at verse 22, Lamentations 3. It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. That just happens to be one of the choruses that we sing. So in this midst of Jeremiah lamenting over the fall of Israel and Judah and Jerusalem, he realized that the Lord's mercies were still there, and that if it wasn't for the Lord's mercies, they would have been completely destroyed. There would have been nothing left, and there was a remnant. But it says here, they're not consumed, compassions fail not, they are new every morning, every day. And really, that's the principle that I want to look at, is that's how we have as our walk with the Lord today, that his compassions towards us are new every morning. And our walk with the Lord is a daily walk, and that is every single day. And just like the Lord provided for Israel every single day, the Lord provides for us every single day. And just as Israel had to make the acknowledgement of the Lord every single day in their sacrifices, we're expected to acknowledge the Lord every single day. And then we can really say these words, whether we sing it or whether we read it, that is, his mercies are new every morning. Now we can really praise the Lord and acknowledge his faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness, because we have this daily relationship with the Lord, this daily walk. We'll go to Psalm chapter 30. Verse 5, Psalm 30, verse 5. says, for his anger endures but a moment, in his favour is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And really the psalmist is acknowledging that, look, we slip up, we mess up. The Lord can be angry with us. And even though there may be a bit of weeping going on, it's like symbolically, come the morning, it's a new day. It's a fresh start. Yesterday's gone. And just like the food that they had in the wilderness, the manna that they received, it was no good for the next day. They had a fresh supply for the morning. And it's like, a walk with the Lord starts fresh every day. That, we may have a bit of weeping during the night, we may have a bit of anguish beforehand, but we can, in effect, start anew, start fresh. And that's how the Lord is dealing with us as well. Hebrews chapter 7. I'll skip through a few verses to make sure I don't go on too long. Hebrews chapter 7 and verse 26. Talking about Jesus as in his priesthood. So for such a high priest became us, who is holy, harmless, undefiled, separate from sinners, made higher than the heavens. It's talking about Jesus, obviously, who needs not daily, as those high priests, to offer up sacrifice, first for his own sins, and then for the people's. For this he did once, when he offered up himself. For the law makes men high priests, which have infirmity, but the word of the oath, which was since the law, makes the Son, who is consecrated forever. So Jesus became our sacrifice, but unlike the daily sacrifices we saw in the Old Testament, where it never could quite do it, was never good enough, never sufficient, Jesus became our sacrifice and offered once. And that was it. It doesn't have to be offered again because it was the perfect sacrifice. But just stay in Hebrews chapter 13. And verse 15. So Hebrews 13:15 reads, by him, therefore, let us offer the sacrifice of praise to God continually. That is, the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. And so the daily sacrifice has been taken away, especially prophecies about that. But what's been put in its place, in the sense, as well as Jesus becoming the sacrifice that replaced all sacrifice, what we can do on a daily basis is our sacrifice of praise. That is our time. That is our effort unto the Lord. The term sacrifice, it literally means you have to give up something. So if you had, I don't know, say you've got $1,000 in the bank and you got 5 cents, and you give the 5 cents away to somebody, it doesn't mean anything to you. It's of no value. It's of no consequence. So giving away a small amount can't be called a sacrifice. But, these examples in the New Testament about the widow woman, 5 cents to her was everything. That was a sacrifice. So we're going to give our sacrifice of praise. So it has to be worth something to us to be considered a sacrifice, if you understand what I'm trying to say there. So, the biggest thing we can give to the Lord that we have that's probably most precious to us is our time. We only have so much time in a day. We give a certain amount to sleep, we give a certain amount to work, we give a certain amount to doing our chores and all the things we have to do in life. Some of our time we have to give up to the Lord. And if you realize and that concept about a sacrifice, and we do that continually in praise, it's prayer, it's seeking the Lord, and you can put your fellowship in there as well. It's all part of encouraging one another and praising the Lord together. It's our daily sacrifice unto the Lord. And just like they had in the Old Testament, it was there every morning, it was there every evening, there was no let up, it was continual. We're expected to walk with the Lord each and every day, remembering that every day is a new day. And yesterday, doesn't matter if it was good or it was bad, it's a new day today. And we start off with on that basis that the Lord is new to us every morning. He's fresh to us every morning and every day, just as we walk on with Him. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, just an interesting little phrase here. In verse 31. So just the last few words in the end of this verse, I'm not going to go through the context, but Paul says, I die daily. It's like he's not sacrificing himself, he's not killing himself, but in his attitude, in his mindset, he's denying himself. He's not him anymore. He's a servant of Christ. And it was his attitude each and every day, he puts himself aside for the service of the Lord. And that's thought about dying daily. It was a continual thing. We'll turn to it. Luke chapter 9. And in verse 23. Jesus speaking. And he said unto them all, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. And goes on, for whosoever shall save his life shall lose it, but whosoever shall lose his life for my sake, the same shall save it. And he's not talking about taking up a couple of pieces of sticks and sticking them together and carrying that around with you in the shape of a cross. He's talking about our attitude of following him. And it's daily. And it's just like the children of Israel, they gathered their food every single day. They gathered the manna. They made their sacrifices unto the Lord every single day. And our walk in following Jesus Christ is every single day. Matthew chapter 6. Often referred to as the Lord's Prayer. Well, actually, it wasn't the Lord's Prayer. He wasn't praying. In a sense, it's our prayer. And but there's a little phrase in there. We're probably familiar with it. I'll start in verse 9. It says, after this manner, therefore, pray ye, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. In verse 11, you give us this day our daily bread. Now, part of that is just natural provision. We still have physical bodies. We still need to survive. We need to be fed. But more importantly, we have to be spiritually fed. We need our spiritual food, and it comes from the Lord. And just as the Lord provided the manna in the wilderness, they had to go and gather it every single day, apart from the when it was a Sabbath day. They had to go and get the provision. So it was like a two-way process. The Lord provided it, made it available, but they had to get out of their bed and go and get it. And it's the same type of attitude that we have to have with the Lord today. He's given us every spiritual blessing. That's his promise. But we need to get out of bed and go and gather it up. We need to make the effort in following the Lord. And so that give us this day our daily bread. It's a two-way process, but it's that concept that's new every morning. It's every day. It's our walk with the Lord. It's our praise to the Lord, our sacrifice of praise. It's, again, each and every day. And I'll just finish up with one little verse here in Acts chapter 2. So we're very familiar with the first few verses, and we're just going to go down to verse 46. It says, they continued daily with one accord in the temple, breaking bread from house to house, to eat their meat with gladness and singleness of heart. And so their fellowship with the Lord, their fellowship with each other was a daily thing as well. Now, there's practical situations we have to deal with. We can't get together each and every single day as much as we may like to. But our attitude with the Lord needs to be every day. And it's a great thing to do to start off every morning with some prayer and thinking about, look, I'm getting my food for the day. And also think about, I'm giving my sacrifice of praise to the Lord and starting off every day. And it's this two-way process. The Lord's feeding us, we're giving back to the Lord, and we're growing, we're walking with the Lord. You know, we're improving our relationship with the Lord, and we can do that as well as an assembly. When we have the opportunity to come together to encourage one another, and that it is a daily walk. It is new every day. It's fresh every day. And I'll leave it there, all the people said.